drinking it. How do you feel? Is it good?
Yes.
It's delicious, right? Miss Sarah, what do you think?
I feel like mine's got salt in it.
Well, you have like great taste buds. Yes, they do have salt on them, except mine. Good afternoon, my name is Anna Pham, and today I am your host for this podcast episode. Today I have two very special guests with me, Miss Sarah and a very close friend of mine, Angie. Can you both introduce yourselves a little bit?
My name is Miss Sarah. I am the deputy head here at SNA.
Hello, I'm Anna, classmate.
So today's podcast is about peer pressure. So I want to start to one of our topics, which is what is peer pressure?
Yeah, when I think of peer pressure, it definitely reminds me of when I was younger and when I was in school. And so peer pressure is when you get that feeling that somebody is influencing you to do something that you don't feel like you should do. And you've got to start to get that kind of like, you know, your heart might be racing a little bit, you might be sweating a little bit, you might be thinking, I know I shouldn't do this, but my friends or the people around me are telling me to do it. And we have our emotions and we all want to belong and we all want to feel like we belong. And so I think it's always there.
Maybe you're jealous of your friends or they're giving you a hard time. I don't know, they just want to know each other's marks. Like after every test, they're just going around asking, oh, what did you get? What did you get? I think it's so unnecessary.
So to give some statistics on peer pressure in America, based on like a survey or a poll as such, 85% of teenagers admit to being peer pressured. 45% of teenagers say that they feel peer pressure when they post something on social media, because as we know, we are in a generation that technology is often used. So what do you guys think about these statistics? Like, what does it talk about?
Yeah, so when I think about peer pressure when I was young, before we had mobile phones and social media, we definitely had peer pressure and it was still really bad. But you could, I suppose, hide from it. You could go home or it wasn't recorded. So now I think that, yeah, when you post something online, it's there forever. And so if you feel the shame behind it or you have those emotions behind it, then it can follow you for a long time. And so whilst I think peer pressure then and now is the same in terms of it's there, I think today it's a lot more dangerous and real for young people because of social media.
Now that I've heard your definitions of peer pressure, I want to say the dictionary version. So peer pressure is a feeling that one must do the same things as other people of one's age and social group in order to be liked or respected by them. In most cases, it's connected to kids and teens. However, peer pressure can occur at any age, including among young adults and older people. So I want to share a story of peer pressure. So when I was young, we all know that in Asian households, marks are a very important thing. And when I was young, I had horrible English marks. I could fail the class with them. I also had, this also happened with science for some reason. And when I brought those marks home, my parents would start comparing me and saying things that they should not have said. This made me really insecure, and this also put a lot of peer pressure on me. I want to hear about your stories on peer pressure.
I do remember it a lot from when I was in school, especially when it came to the age where all my friends were starting to go out, maybe hang around with boys, wanting to stay out late, and the peer pressure of lying to your parents about what you were doing. So my parents would say I'd have to be home at a certain time, where my friends were allowed to stay out much later. And so I always remember that was always a really difficult thing, juggling doing what was right for my parents, but then also wanting to go out and have fun with my friends. But then always learning at the end of it that lying to your parents, they always catch you and you always get caught down the line. And so that creates a whole different problem. But it was a very real pressure for me during those times.
Have you seen any peer pressure around your environment?
Maybe my friends are like jealous of those who have higher marks. I think so.
Who caused your peer pressures?
Yeah, well, it starts when you get to a certain age. So when you're in primary school, you don't have it because you're not as self-aware. And then when you become a teenager, you become really self-aware of yourself and the environment, and your friends become the most important things in your life. And people, I think that teenagers, you age at different rates, but you're all together at the same time. And so what one person might be ready to do, another person might not be ready to do. But you want to feel like you belong and you want to feel connected. And so that's why you then get that pressure to maybe do something that's out of your comfort zone.
That's a very good answer. Angie, can you tell me, like, what age do you think peer pressure occurs at?
Let's see. Maybe at grade 6, because that's the start of middle school. So now you're like a middle schooler, and then you start to realize stuff, and then you want to learn more, because now you're considered like a little older now. So you want to know about yourself, and you want to know about other people, and then there's problems here and there.
Miss Sarah, do you think peer pressure is caused by when you compare yourself to others, or when you compare yourself to like a certain standard?
Both, I would say. So especially nowadays with social media, you've got the standards that are in the social media all the time that you're comparing yourself to. And then when you're in school, you're comparing yourself to each other and how each other's maturing.
So I want to show you guys the video to give like a bit of background. The student right here is someone who came from Africa. She was homeschooled. And when she came to this new school, she meets a group called the Plastics, where they invite her to join them. But to join them, you have to like follow a bit of policies and rules. So this...
Wait. Sit down. Seriously, sit down. Why don't I know you?
I'm new. I just moved here from Africa.
What?
I used to be homeschooled.
Wait, what?
My mom taught me at home.
No, I know what homeschool is. I'm not retarded. So you've actually never been to a real school before? Shut up. Shut up.
I didn't say anything.
Homeschooled. That's really interesting.
Thanks.
You're like really pretty.
Thank you.
Okay, you should just know that we don't do this a lot, so this is like a really huge deal.
We want to invite you to have lunch with us every day for the rest of the week.
Oh,
It's okay.
coolness. So we'll see you tomorrow.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink. Having lunch with the Plastics was like leaving the actual world and entering Girl World. And Girl World had a lot of rules.
You can't wear a tank top 2 days in a row, and you can only wear your hair in a ponytail once a week. So I guess you pick today. Oh, and we only wear jeans or track pants on Fridays. Now, if you break any of these rules, you can't sit with us at lunch.
So after watching the video, do you guys what do you guys think of this video?
I know that in schools people have their friendship groups, but what I'd like to ask you is, in our school and in Vietnamese schools, is it the same, or is it not quite so cliquey?
As in friend groups?
Yeah, where you're in that group and you can't socialise with people in that group.
Angie, I think you can explain this very well.
So, like, it's not that obvious. I mean, there still is some form of that, but we're like more low-key, so we still talk to other people outside of the group, and we also, I don't know, talk bad about people inside of the group. So basically we mind our own businesses more, although we're like still with the group. It's not like we're a family and then we're bond together and then we only play inside the family. I'm not sure if there are rules. In my friend group, it's just normal. Like, you don't have to wear dress codes. You have to act a particular way. I think that's a little exaggerated, like in the film.
Miss Sarah, you've been in the education business for a long time, and when you welcome new students into the school, have they ever expressed their concern to you about joining new communities?
Yes, they have. So sometimes when I interview new students, one of the things that they'll say to me is that they got bullied in their last school or they struggled to make friends in their last school. And one of the things that I'll say to the students is that we're a really friendly community here and we're really accepting of all different types of people. And I think that's really important that, like you were saying before, you can be yourself here and it doesn't matter who that self is, as long as you're trying your best and you're trying to be a good person. Might not always be the case, but you're trying, then we always work together as a community to solve problems.
Have you ever joined certain groups where you had to meet policies and rules?
Yes, yeah, always. So I have to wear my badge all the time. I have to dress in a certain way as well. So I think in society there are sometimes spoken rules where you have to read the rules first and follow them, and unspoken rules where we behave in a certain way and we do things in a certain way so that we don't upset the society that we're in.
I want to welcome you guys to take another sip of your drink. So, after drinking it, how do you feel? Is it good?
Yes.
It's delicious, right? Miss Sarah, what do you think?
I feel like mine's got salt in it.
Well, you have great taste buds. Yes, they do have salt in them, except mine. Why did you not react when you first drank it?
Because of those unspoken rules, I don't want to be impolite or I don't want to appear rude. And maybe now that I know that actually there's something wrong with the drink, but at first maybe you were just giving me a drink that's not very nice, so I didn't want to appear rude. But
well deserved.
So this is an example of coming to an IB education, because an IB education encourages you to be an inquirer and to ask. And I did not ask, whereas you solved the problem by yourself quickly.
It's very salty. It tastes like the seawater that the nurse uses to clean your wound.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So I want to tell you guys about an experiment done in the US. So about 50 years ago, a group of students was placed in an examination room while they were taking the exam. There was smoke put into the room, but no student went out. They continued to stay there and do the exam.
Yeah.
After the exam, each student was asked individually about what happened in the room. They all admitted that they were very uncomfortable and wanted to walk out, and if they were alone in a room, they would have walked out immediately, but they did not because others stayed in the room. And this is a good example of peer pressure.
Yeah.
So, as you said, the unspoken rules, this might have been a reason to why the students stayed in a room, but they admitted it afterwards.
Yeah, also kind of everybody sitting in the room and not leaving is a peer pressure thing, a society thing, but it could also come from when we were cavemen and us, a survival mode really, where we're like the herd, like the animal herd, and as long as we follow the herd, then we might not get picked off by the lion who's eating the people who stand out from the herd. So it also might be a survival mode technique that we have.
Following that, what should we do to reduce peer pressure?
So I can talk about the different things that we do in school, that we do as teachers to try and educate students, I suppose. We have to go through this experience in life, I think, as we're growing up and becoming adults. But in school we need to offer support so that people are aware of it, they can learn from it, they can grow from it. So there's things like building self-confidence and self-esteem, how we do that in school with doing projects and group work and individual work and different things like that. Knowing what your values are really important. Knowing where your line is to say no. How far will I go before I say no? Developing communication skills, that's really important, so that we can say no, so that we feel confident to say no. Building a support structure in school so that you know you can speak to either your friends or the school counsellor or your teachers or me or anybody that's in the school environment. Celebrating diversity as well, I think, is really important because, especially in an international school, there might be people who come from different cultures that have different expectations of how to do things, and so we have to celebrate that everybody's different, and it's important that we support those differences amongst people.
Do you have any advice for people experiencing peer pressure right now?
Yeah, definitely. You're not alone. I think sometimes we can feel like we're the only person that's going through this, but you're not alone. Nearly everybody has gone through it or is going through it at one part in their life. So come and speak to somebody. If you have that feeling where you've got doubts, where you think, I'm not sure that I should do this, then ask somebody else. Ask a friend, ask a teacher, ask for some support, because they might say to you, actually, no, that's okay, you can do that, that's okay.
Like, I don't think peer pressure is bad. Like, bro, if you get low marks, then of course you're going to be jealous of someone who gets higher marks because you want the higher mark, right? So why don't you just like get up and work on it? Like, just snap out of your bubble.
I think that's a good point there though, because that shows that there's two types of peer pressure. So there's actual peer pressure that can be an advantage if it pushes you to work harder, be better in a safe environment. And then there's the peer pressure that pushes you out of that safe environment.
I would like you both to choose hashtags to summarize what you said today.
Hashtag smart choices. So as we grow up and we're teenagers, we don't always make smart choices, but we need to learn from them, be able to talk about them, and then grow.
So I would choose willpower, because with peer pressure you would need willpower to like overcome it. Thank you, Miss Sarah and Angie, for being here today and answering all of my questions, which are like a lot. Thank you for like taking the time out of your day for today, and thank you everyone for tuning into today's episode. See you next time.
Sarcastic.